Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something pretty fundamental if you're thinking about backup power. You know, whether it's for storm season, maybe a job site, or even just getting away in the RV.
Absolutely. We're looking at inverters versus conventional generators.
Right. And the goal here is, well, to give you a shortcut, cut through the noise so you know which one actually fits your needs.
Yeah, because they both make electricity when the grid's down. That's the basic idea.
Yeah.
But how they do it and what they're best for, well, that's completely different.
It's not just about how much power, right? That's what you always hear. Watts, watts, watts.
Exactly. It's the quality of that power. That's really the crux of it. How clean is the electricity they're putting out? That's maybe the most important question.
Okay, let's start with the old school one, the conventional generator, the one you probably picture first. What's actually happening inside that thing?
Right, the classic workhorse. It's pretty straightforward, mechanically speaking. You put in fuel, gasoline, usually maybe diesel or propane. An engine burns that fuel, creates mechanical motion like rotational energy.
Okay.
That spinning motion turns an alternator, and the alternator directly generates AC electricity. Think of it as direct mechanical to electrical conversion. Simple, robust, great for big, dumb loads.
Big dumb loads, like what?
Well, things that aren't too fussy about power quality, like big power tools on a construction site or maybe an older water pump, things that just need raw power.
Gotcha. Okay, so now pivot to the inverter generator. The name inverter itself sounds, well, more complex. How's that different?
It is more complex, definitely. There's an extra electronic step, or rather a few extra steps. So a basic inverter just takes DC power, like from a battery, and turns it into AC power for your house stuff.
It's simple enough.
But an inverter generator, it's clever. It still has an engine and an alternator making AC power initially. But then, and this is the key part, it converts that AC power immediately into DC power.
AC to DC.
Exactly. And then, using sophisticated electronics, microprocessors, it converts that DC power back into AC power. But this time, it's a really clean, stable AC output.
Okay, hold on. AC to DC, then back to AC. Why the double conversion? Seems inefficient.
It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but it's actually the secret sauce. That middle DC stage acts like a buffer, a filter, maybe.
A buffer? How so?
Because the final AC power isn't tied directly to the engine speed anymore. The electronics rebuild the AC waveform. So no matter if the engine revs up or down slightly,
the output stays smooth.
Precisely. You get a perfect sine wave, but very close to it, super stable. And that is what we call clean power.
Right. And that leads us straight into this whole clean versus dirty power thing, which honestly feels like the most critical difference for most people today. If the inverter gives us clean power, what's the conventional one giving us? The
conventional generator, because its output is directly tied to the engine and alternator speed, it tends to fluctuate. The voltage and frequency can waver a bit.
So dirty power.
Yeah, or sometimes called a modified sine wave. It's not that smooth, perfect curve. If the engine bogs down for a second when a big appliance kicks on,
the power output dips instantly.
Instantly. You might see lights flicker, for example.
And for all the sensitive electronics we have now, smartphones, laptops, smart TVs, even fancy refrigerators or modern furnaces, what happens if you plug those into that dirtier power?
Well, best case, they might just act funny. Maybe not perform optimally. Worst case.
Damage.
Yeah, potential damage. Overheating components, premature failure. Things with microprocessors, especially like computers or medical equipment, they really don't like unstable power. It can cause errors, shutdowns. It's just risky.
So for anything delicate, that clean power from the inverter isn't just nice to have, it's kind of mandatory.
For sensitive electronics, absolutely. It protects your gear.
Okay, so inverter power is cleaner, safer for modern tech. What about how they run day to day? Let's talk efficiency, fuel efficiency.
Huge difference here. This is where the inverter's smart electronics really pay off. They have variable speed control.
Meaning?
Meaning the engine speed adjusts based on the load.
Yeah.
If you're just charging a laptop and a phone, the engine slows right down, just sips fuel.
So it's only working as hard as it needs to.
Exactly, which makes them incredibly fuel efficient, especially on lighter loads. Plus, less wear and tear on the engine.
And the conventional one.
It runs at a constant speed, usually pretty fast, like 3,600 RPM, no matter what.
No matter if you're running one light bulb or the whole construction site.
Pretty much. It has to maintain that speed for the alternator to produce the right frequency.
Oh.
So if the load is small, it's just, well, wasting a lot of fuel and making a lot of noise for nothing.
Which brings us neatly to noise. That's often the first complaint you hear, right? Especially in a quiet neighborhood or a campground.
Oh, definitely. Conventional generators are loud, period.
Yeah.
That constant high speed makes a racket. Fine on a noisy job site, maybe.
But not so great if you're trying to sleep during an outage or enjoy nature.
Not at all. We're talking, 75, maybe 85 decibels. That's like standing next to a busy road, constantly.
Yikes. And the inverters.
Much quieter. Because they can throttle down, especially under light load, they often run in the 50 to 65 decibel range.
Which is more like normal conversation levels.
Yeah, much more tolerable, way more neighbor-friendly, way better for camping or RVs.
And does that efficiency link to portability too? Smaller engine parts, maybe?
It does contribute, yeah. Inverters are generally designed to be compact and relatively lightweight. Many look like little suitcases, with handles.
Easy to grab and go.
Right. Easy to move around, put in the car, store away. Conventional generators, especially the ones with decent power output, tend to be bulky, heavy, usually need wheels.
Not something you easily toss in the trunk.
Definitely not. They're less about grab and go, more about setting up in one spot.
Okay, so let's recap this section. Inverter wins on clean power, fuel efficiency, quietness, and portability. Sounds like a slam dunk. So where's the catch? There has to be a trade-off.
There is, and it's a big one. Raw power output and cost.
Okay. Capacity. Let's talk watts. What's the typical range for each?
Conventional generators are the heavyweights here. No contest, really. If you need serious power, like running your whole house during an outage, including the AC, the well pump, electric stove.
Yeah, the big energy hogs.
Right. You need thousands of watts. Conventional units easily go from maybe 3,000 watts up to 10,000, 15,000 watts, even more for the big home standby models.
And inverters, what's their ceiling typically?
Your standard portable inverter, they usually top out around, say, 2,000 to 4,000 watts. Maybe 5,000 on the higher end for a single unit.
So enough for essentials, fridge, lights, computers, charge phones.
Exactly. Essentials, yes. But probably not enough to run central air conditioning or multiple large appliances at the same time. That's the limitation.
But hang on, I've seen ads for inverter systems that claim much higher wattage. How does that work? Are they just bigger units?
Yes. That's usually through parallel capability. It's a really smart feature.
Parallel capability?
Yeah. Many inverter models are designed so you can link two identical units together with a special cable.
And that doubles the power.
Effectively, yes. If you link two 3,000-watt inverters, you get 6,000 watts of available power. And crucially, it's still that clean, stable inverter power.
Okay, that's a significant point. It gives you a way to scale up inverter power if you need more than one unit can provide.
It does. It bridges that capacity gap somewhat, but of course you're buying two generators instead of one.
Which leads us directly to cost. You mentioned that's the other trade-off. If I just need the most watts for my dollar.
Yeah. Then the conventional generator is usually the winner. At least on the initial purchase price, they generally have a lower cost per watt.
Makes sense. Simpler technology, less complex electronics.
Right. So if you need, say, 7,000 watts, buying one big conventional generator is almost always going to be cheaper up front than buying two 3,500-watt inverters in the parallel kit.
And conversely, the inverter, with all its fancy electronics and quieter operation,
comes at a premium, higher cost per watt. You're paying extra for that clean power, the efficiency, the quietness, the portability.
So upfront costs versus features and power quality.
That's a big part of the decision, yes.
One more thing on capability fuel types. Are they equally flexible?
Generally, conventional generators offer a bit more flexibility there.
Sure.
Dual fuel models running on gasoline or propane are super common, very handy.
Propane stores longer, right?
Exactly. And bigger conventional units often run on diesel. Inverters are mostly gasoline, though you are starting to see more dual fuel inverter models appearing now, which is great.
Okay, makes sense. So let's try and tie this all together for someone listening, trying to make this choice. What's the core question they need to ask themselves?
It really boils down to your primary application. What are you going to do with this power? Are you prioritizing raw grunt and maximum wattage for the lowest price, mainly for things that aren't electronically sensitive?
Like running power tools on a site, or maybe just keeping the heat and well pump going in a pinch.
Right. Or are you prioritizing clean, quiet power for sensitive devices, fuel savings, and maybe portability for camping or tailgating?
You have to pick your priority. Brute force or finesse?
That's a good way to put it.
So let's make it super clear. Choose an inverter if.
Choose an inverter if, number one, quiet operation is really important. Number two, You absolutely need clean power for computers, TVs, medical devices, modern appliances. Or number 3, if you need it to be light and portable for recreation.
Okay. And swallow the noise and lower efficiency and go conventional if.
Go conventional if your main goal is maximum wattage for minimum upfront cost, especially for running big, heavy draw items like large motors, pumps, maybe a whole house panel via transfer switch, or, for a typical construction site setup.
So the decision really hangs on those 3 things. How many watts do you really need? How much noise can you tolerate where you'll use it? And how important is moving it around easily?
That's pretty much it. Wattage, noise, portability, and budget, of course.
And regardless of which type you lean towards, are there any specific features people should look out for when they're actually shopping?
Yeah, definitely. Things that add convenience or safety. An automatic start feature is fantastic for home backup, so it kicks on by itself when the power goes out.
Oh, no.
Dual fuel capability, as we mentioned, adds great flexibility. And if you are going the inverter route, really check if it has that parallel capability. It gives you that option to extend later if your needs grow.
Good tips. Okay, so wrapping this up. We've seen it's a classic trade-off, hasn't it? The old way versus the new way, in a sense.
Yeah.
Raw, cheaper power versus precise, efficient, but more expensive power.
Exactly. It's about matching the technology to your specific job.
Which leads us to a final thought for you to consider, something to chew on.
Okay.
We've hammered home that conventional generators provide, let's call it dirty power. It's powerful, it's often cheaper per watt up front. But if you go that route, have you really calculated the total cost?
What do you mean?
I mean, if you buy that big, noisy generator, do you then need to factor in the additional cost and maybe the space for some kind of external power conditioner or a high-quality, pure sine wave UPS system just to safely run those few essential, sensitive devices, your internet router, maybe the control board on your high-efficiency furnace or fridge, that you absolutely cannot afford to have fried by unstable power?
That's a really sharp point. The cost of protecting your sensitive gear from the generator you just bought.
Exactly. That clean power cost might just be shifted, not eliminated. Something to think about when you're comparing those price tags.